everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about what questions to ask wedding venues when you're on the hunt for that perfect venue. So let's get right to it. So these questions aren't in any particular order, just kind of what comes to my head and what questions I asked, what questions I wish I had asked. So you're gonna need to know their availability. When you're at the point of searching for venues, you should already have a rough idea of the date and the season that you want to get married. You should at least know, like, I want to get married in fall, winter, spring, You should have that down. So when you go to venues, you can say, what's your availability look like for the fall? And they can say, oh, we're completely open for the fall, or we're completely booked. Some venues might be booked out really far in advance. If it's a really popular venue in your area. Yeah, I want to say we booked our venue like a year in advance. I might be completely off, but I think it was about a year in advance. So once you know that, then you can ask on the capacity. So you should also have a rough idea of how many guests you want to invite to this wedding. So if a venue is way under that guest count, you can X them out and you can move on. So also you want to ask them on catering options. Some venues, if you want to bring in your own food, some venues don't allow that. And if they do, they might allow it with a charge. I think one venue charged like $2,000 just to bring your own food in, which I think it's crazy, but whatever. And some venues, like, you have to choose their in-house caterer or whatever caterer that venue uses. So catering stuff is something you should ask about, see if you can bring your own, or if there's a caterer that you're required to use for that venue. Also alcohol, we wanted to bring in our own alcohol. So luckily we were able to find a venue that allowed that. But some venues won't let you bring in your own alcohol. They have some venues like provide the alcohol for you. Then you could choose like which tier of, they offer like a bar menu, so you could do like beer and wine, where that'll be like the cheapest option. Then like a level up is like beer, wine, and some liquor, and then like beer, wine, and like top shelf liquor is how the venues that we went to did it. So some venues allow you to bring your own, and some like you have to use their like bar menu, and obviously you have to have a bartender and all that. So the cost, obviously the cost is important. Cost of the venue and what that cost includes. Most venues that I went to, included chairs and tables. I think that's pretty standard that they do. One venue didn't actually, but normally it's pretty standard that, venues include the chairs and the tables. So ask that. Some venues include tablecloths. So just ask everything that cost includes, and then what can be added in. And so yeah, cost, once you have the cost, you can ask about the payment schedule, how much is due to hold this date, and when is the remaining amount due. And then also cancellation policy. Some venues won't let you cancel at all, and other venues it's like at least 30 days in advance. So if something happens, then if you really dreamed of an outdoor wedding, can't control the weather, unfortunately, so you need to know about plan B, just in case Mother Nature decides to crash down on my day. Where would the wedding be? So yeah, that's obviously important. You don't want to not get married at all. So yeah, vendors. So some venues require you to use a certain list of vendors. Most venues don't. No. Some venues require you to use a certain list of vendors that they are like have a partnership with. So yeah, ask about that, because we wanted the freedom to be able to kind of go out there and choose our own vendors. And so just see if that's a requirement with your venue, if they're more flexible and they just have like recommendations for certain vendors, which is nice to have recommendations, obviously. And then also, if you have like a 500 guest count, like we did, crazy, you want to make sure that it's a lot of parking. Not everyone's gonna carpool to the wedding. So even though some venues can fit a really big amount of people, sometimes their parking capacity doesn't match that. So that's something just to be mindful of. And also bathroom space is something we looked out for, because we had such a large guest count. We didn't want it to just have like 2 stalls in the bathroom, Might be okay for the men, but the ladies, you know, we take our time. So, you know, that's something we took into consideration. We didn't want long lines in the bathroom, people just not being able to use the bathroom. That would, I mean, that's unfortunate. So yeah, something to be on the lookout for. And then like bridal suites, groom suites, you know, definitely ask about those. Groom suites are hard to find, at least in Georgia. Most venues had a bridal suite. If you have a big bridal party, I think I had 8 bridesmaids, so I wanted the bridal suite to be a good size, and that's definitely something to be on the lookout for if you have a bigger size bridal party as well. Also, decoration, if there's any restrictions. Some venues, you know, you can't have open flames. They don't want like confetti, little papers, because it's hard to clean up. For us, we tried to like take a shortcut for the dance floor. We were thinking maybe we could just put the floor decal down with like our logo just straight on the floor and not have a dance floor to like save money. But obviously like that can ruin a floor, like having to peel that decal back up. So they're like, no, you can't do that, which makes sense. So just little things like that. Just make sure if you have a vision that the venue allows that to happen. I think those are the questions that you would ask a venue, like insurance. And definitely when you're booking, make sure you read over the contract. Anything that you have questions on, just, you know, make sure you ask. Don't just sign anything without asking. That's just a life lesson, of course. But yeah, I think this covers the questions to ask your venue when you're venue shopping, venue searching. If I could think of anything else that maybe I didn't add, I'll add it to the comments. But yeah, I hope this video was useful, and happy wedding planning.